Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, now streaming only on Netflix.
Bare naked, bare naked, bare naked, ABCs. Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs, where we review each Bare Naked Lady song alphabetically from 7 to Y. I am reveling in the opportunity from last week. It is something that I had wanted to do for a long time, and Susan was a wonderful guest. I guess you could say I feel like I'm in a daze. I feel as though it didn't really happen. Did we really interview her last week, Aaron, or was that just some part of a vision?
It was like a crazy dream. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, that I had in the middle of the afternoon, like in the middle of a meeting at work, like
during the day.
It was like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's like beating a dead horse metaphor. I don't.
Hopefully not literally.
Anyway, this week I'm joined by
Aaron,
Michelle,
and we are joined this week by Greg from This Might Be a Podcast. He reviews some band or another that might, I don't know, they might be Lilliputians.
They must be giants.
There may be giants. It's another group of musical dorks, you know.
Appropriately enough, I just heard that the Terry Gilliam film, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, is actually finally going to get released. So there you go. Very excited to see that. Since that's where they got their name. I'm a huge They Might Be Giants fan. Greg, I'm not sure if these guys told you, but it's rare that an episode goes by that I don't make some kind of comparison to They Might Be Giants.
I was going to say, Aaron mentions them on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I've listened to a handful of your guys' episodes. I've heard it a couple times. There may have been one that I didn't hear on. I'm trying to...
There's my flans pick. Nice. We can compare
Aaron
merch.
might miss an episode every now and then, but it's pretty rare. I got a pick from John
Flansbury, so I've seen them live a couple times, and I'm actually on a tribute album called They Pay Tribute. My friend and I made a band called They Might Be Gaints that switched the I and the A around in Giants, and we covered Fingertips, and it was hilarious and crazy difficult.
Okay, hold on. I'm actually in the middle of recording my Fingertips episode. I'm doing a huge thing. There's no spoiler alerts, but I'm doing something special with Fingertips. But me and the guy who are doing it, we couldn't quite get through all of it in one night, and he got pretty drunk, and I got pretty tired, and so we're gonna pick it back up. But if I can, where can I find this too? Because we play covers and stuff in the podcast.
I'm not sure. Hold on, I don't know if it's on.
Or you
Spotify
could just send me.
I could send you like an MP3.
Yeah, that would totally be.
That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah,
we'd love to have you play it. It was a lot of fun. It was quite a challenge, as you might imagine. Anyone who's heard that song.
I mean, they're a challenging band to cover as it is. I mean, I just did like 10 covers of theirs over the weekend at my.
Awesome.
We did our first live episode about Don't Let's Start, and then we did a tribute set after with a bunch of my friends, like in different combinations, doing all sorts of songs. But yeah, I played some accordion on Don't Let's Start as well as a bunch of other ones.
Excellent.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, I played accordion on some. I'm a music teacher, I should say that, and I went to school to play pretty much everything. Like, I'm a band teacher and stuff. I have my specialties, but I played guitar on some songs, played drums on a song, played bass on a song, played accordion on a bunch of songs, and then some piano and some synthesizer stuff. But yeah, whole bunch of stuff. And their songs are so hard to cover, and then Fingertips, I mean, they are. I mean, on the I'm treating them like the separate songs, which is part of the gag for what I'm doing with fingertips. I like their own little songs, but then when you string them together, it's like you're just hopping genres constantly. So the band hops genres as it is, but when the songs are only 6 to 10 seconds long,
it's like a microcosm of the They Might Be Giants experience.
Yeah, and it's like whiplash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that, so you should send it my way.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So check out This Might Be a Podcast, guys, because if you like Bare Naked Ladies, I dare say there's a very good chance that you will like They Might Be Giants. They're both very kind of quirky, and they kind of cover a whole breadth of different subgenres within rock and even outside of rock, jazz and fusion and all kinds of other influences.
They're both the thinking man's rock.
They really are.
Yes.
They really are. True, though.
Indeed.
A lot of tongue in cheek.
If you've always aspired to be a Radiohead person, but you just can't stand being that depressed, check out They Might Be Giants.
Or at least they're
when your vitamin
lyrics.
D kicks in, switch on over.
They Might Be Giants. They've made a career out of making depressing lyrics fun.
Yeah,
Radiohead
that's true.
just makes
That's
you
very true
depressed.
with BNL as well. Especially Stephen Page has that twist where you do kind of a. I also am a big fan of Get Set Go. I don't know if you guys know Get Set Go, but Mike TV did some amazing, very, very depressing or angry lyrics, but really, really beautiful sounding major songs, and it's just like such a great contrast.
Yeah.
So shout out to Mike TV Live at Twitch. He does live shows all the time.
Oh, interesting. So, anyways, for this week for BNL, a little bit of a divergence there.
I know, right?
This week we're actually covering a very different sounding song for Bare Naked Ladies. It's Daydreamin' off from Grinning Streak in 2013.
I'm gonna get it right one day and you'll be out of excuses. Telling me that there is no way that it's pointless, it's useless, that I'm dreaming.
It is a Kevin Hearn song, so you can already have some guesses about where I might be going this week.
I don't know.
Tracy hates Kevin.
I mean, I should.
Whoa!
You know what's funny?
I should
I
preface
knew this was a
that.
Kevin song before I even knew it was a Kevin song. Like the minute it started playing, it's like, this is going to be a Kevin song. And then I looked and I'm like, oh yeah, it is. We love Kevin. We love Kevin.
Yes.
Let that be understood.
I will say right off the bat that I think the song is pretty great, but it is like way out of left field. But again, if you treat them anything like They Might Be Giants, it's like nothing is out of left field. Nothing.
Yeah, it's all left field.
Yeah. They haven't.
All left
That's
field.
True. Even when you go through, like I was just like kind of skipping around Spotify because I mean I wouldn't call myself a super fan by any means. I mean, skipping through like even like the top tracks on Spotify, of course you got the obvious ones, but even going through the obvious hits, there's like the straight up pop rock songs. There's some like they have some with folkier ones with accordion, and then like you get these more electronic ones, and it's very there definitely are a lot of parallels to They Might Be Giants, and They Might Be Giants have rocked some pretty bumping electronic tracks too, but fans aren't like, what is this? This is like the remixing themselves. They're like, no, it's just another They Might Be Giant song. They just, they wanted to do this, so they did it. So same kind of thing.
So this is a very electronic song. This is very much a keyboard song. Like you can almost tell that Kevin wrote this with the keyboards in mind and then added the other tracks or other instruments in after, or the other guys added extra stuff in after, because it's very much keyboard prevalent. So why don't we take a moment and kind of head over to Aaron for the breakdown.
All right, let's break it down. In my analysis of this song, it struck me that this was not really a traditional song structure. I mean, it kind of is. If you want to be as simplistic as possible in reducing this song down to kind of boiling it down to its elements, I guess I would characterize this song as intro, verse, chorus, kind of an instrumental bridge, although it's really basically the chorus changes, and then an outro. It's very, very simple. Nothing wrong with simplicity, but it's a very simple song. It's in the key of C major, adding to the simplicity of it. It's at 120 beats per minute. Now, I'm very curious to talk to Greg, since Greg's a music teacher. This song, to me, felt like it just kind of sat in C almost the entire time.
Let's go ahead. And let's sit and see right now. Let's see.
Yeah.
What kind of beat do we want here?
There we go. Oh, nice. We got a Casio.
Yeah, it's
Reminds me
it's
of
an old
Homestar Runner.
It's an old Yamaha
Homestar.
Portasound. I do have a
it's like-
Casio tone over in the corner here,
Oh,
as
nice.
well as a Roland Juno 60 analog synth. This was my wife's when she was a little girl.
This is bringing me back.
I have some other stuff, like I have a Texas Instruments speaking music that was mine from when I was a kid.
Nice.
I've got a whole bunch of dorky little toys.
I'm jealous
over
of
here.
All
toys,
the
man.
classics.
But yeah, this song, for despite being, I mean, most musicians at least can tinker around on a keyboard. Keyboard is, the piano is one of those instruments where you just press the key. You don't need to really have proper technique to bash out some sort of song on it. Doesn't he mostly play guitar? I mean, honestly, like, you guys are gonna have to correct me on a lot of stuff here, but doesn't he mostly play guitar live, or does he play keyboards too?
Kevin's the keyboard guy.
Kevin plays keyboards.
He can play guitar.
Okay.
He can play a lot of things.
I
but
saw a
it's
live
mostly-
video of him doing, this song on acoustic guitar. That's what
believe
threw
it.
He's
me.
able to vary it up quite a bit.
Okay.
So
They're all kind of, I think, at least multi-instrumentalists to a certain extent.
Right. I mean, it's the best key to noodle around in. So if
Yeah,
he's just
it's
like,
real easy to...
if he just sets like a little drum machine rolling for like, 20 minutes and then just kind of noodling around, it's just like, well, let's sort through that and see what came out. And it's.
well, let's talk about that for a second. Was this Tyler, or was this a drum machine? Because I heard no fills on this entire song.
I'm pretty sure it was either electronic drums or like it was just really quantized. But I'm guessing it was probably... It could have been electronic drums. These days, especially with these like Superior Drummer things they have where they actually take like recordings of actual drums and you can track it out on MIDI, it's actually really hard to tell sometimes if it's live drums or not. But yeah, it was very simple kind of beat. It very easily could have been just electronically laid out.
Yeah, I currently got sent a record to mix. Guys had recorded a record and were like, or they'd record this one song that they wanted to put out as a single, and they're like, yeah, I don't think we did very well with it. Can you try and fix it? So they sent it to me, and I'm like, what's going on with these drums? Something seems a little off. Like drums is probably my strongest instrument. And they're like, oh yeah, that was on a Roland V drums kit. So like a really top of the line electronic kit. Yeah. So I'm like, because I could tell, like they sound really good and they feel nice.
Yeah.
But as a drummer, I could tell that it was not real
Same.
drums. So they just sent me like one track, and I'm like, no, send me the MIDI data. So I'm getting the MIDI data of each drum.
Nice.
So
So
then
you can
I can
use-
screw with it and use all of my, because I've
Oh, I love like Superior Drummer where you can actually change the mic placement and everything. It's so good.
Oh yeah, there's some wacky stuff you can do.
Yeah.
So I interviewed Marty Beller, the drummer of They Might Be Giants, on
Nice.
my podcast. Yeah, it was a
Surely
really,
that was Dr. Worm.
really good get. No, actually, we did an exclusive episode. I posted like 20 minutes of it in the thing, and then the rest of it's in the Patreon. But
Very cool. Very cool.
they did an album with the only album that They Might Be Giants have not produced themselves was the Dust Brothers co-produced their 2007 album, The Else, and they're known for
The
like
Else.
stuff with Beck and Beastie Boys and stuff. So there were these tracks where I was asking him about how, like, I'm like, is that real drums or is that a drum machine or what? And the one we were talking about in particular is a song called Upside Down Frown, and he's like, that is me. But then they cut it all apart and did what they wanted with it. So,
quantized it.
so and not even quantized it. I mean, Marty is so good. He's like, he can lock into a click no matter what you want. You could tell there's chunks that they're like, ooh, we love what he did in these 4 measures. Let's loop that a bunch, and then you'll hear different little parts come in. But you can definitely hear like it's so repetitive in a way that like is cool for a drum machine kind of thing. So with Daydreamin', it is kind of hard to tell because. Yeah, this record was 2013, so the technology was already there that really you can blur the lines in lots of ways. It could be a combination. Like you could do like live kick and snare, but then put like that like little electronic hi-hat over it, or a lot of bands do that, like where you like fake hand claps better than real hand claps. So we'll put some of those over the real drums. There's a lot of mixing going on.
If you've seen,
I just miss Tyler filling in there.
Yeah. Well, he's like someone like Jimmy Chamberlain. I always think the best rock drummers are jazz trained. I'm not sure if Tyler's jazz trained, but it sure seems like he is. And it reminds me of Oh, damn, I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. I've had a rough
That's
day.
all right.
It reminds you of They Might Be Giants. Let's work it back.
Yeah, there we go. No, it's what I like to say about this song, it seems to sit in C pretty well for most of the song, and then there's like sometimes it stays rooted in C as far as like that's what the chord is, but then there's like an implied upward motion. So that it was interesting to hear Greg talk about just how easy it is to kind of play around in C, because this sounds very much to me like someone just going like, let's just walk up the keys and then we'll just kind of walk over here, and then because you have this motion that's like 1 2 3 4 and then 2 3 4 6 1 or 7 1 I think it was, and then it's just kind of, and then sometimes it just bounces back and forth between 1 and 4, the C to F, and I don't know, it's just really, it's very, very simplistic, and it seems like someone, to me, I envisioned this song coming out of someone just kind of sitting down, tinkering with the keys and kind of playing and be like, we can make a song around this, and just kind of jamming it out.
That's what I was thinking, because, I mean, it all feels very, very nice. This is a very chill song. Like, it all feels very pleasant. You know, I can see why they put it, like, in the back half of the track listing. You know, it's not going to be the single, but I really, really liked it. I mean, I'm a big fan of synthesizers as well, and as a drummer, I do appreciate, a cool drum machine programmed beat, because I like programming them as well. I think, the best programmed drum beats are going to be made by someone who could actually play it if they wanted to, but then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to make it like, this way. And it's just it's very chill. Like, I was listening to it again when I came home from work, and it's kind of, it's not a ballad necessarily, but it's not like in your face. It's in this nice little middle range, and being in C, it's a pleasant key. It makes it moves around in pleasant ways, and it's all just very it's very aesthetically pleasing to me.
It feels like a daydream.
What about you, Michelle? You've been kind of silent over there.
I've been waiting to get a word in edgewise.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
I'm
Go ahead.
kidding.
Sorry.
I'm kidding. No, it's everything that you said. I have in my notes. It's not everything, but just like Greg, you had mentioned that it was a positive song. I felt like it was really positive and had this nice upbeat feel. And I also, my first note was, I like the video gamey kind of start to it. So it's been funny that we've been talking about old school video games, because to me, this had that feeling of that kind of early video game. I liked it. It's an easy song to listen to. It's very positive. I like the vocal quality and the chorus. I feel like it's kind of, it doesn't require a lot to listen to this. You can kind of just go with it without anything being shoved on you. You know what I mean? You can just listen to it, enjoy the tune, enjoy the sounds. And it made me kind of think of Tears for Fears, Everybody Wants to Rule the World. That's sort of like summer.
Sure.
I mean, not the sound of the song, but the feeling that it evoked in me, I guess. Sort of that easy, summer, positive, fun, anything's possible kind of a feeling. That's what I got from it.
I like that. I think aesthetically or tonally, there is a similarity there. I like that comparison, Michelle. I will say, of the two, I vastly prefer Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
Oh my God, yes. 100%.
Well,
I mean,
that's an iconic track, and this is just, on the back half of, his 2013 album.
this would be another song that would be nice to listen to while you're shopping at the mall. Like, oh, it's in the background, and I'm
Human music.
It's not requiring anything of me.
If I could go back to the video game thing that you brought up, are any of you
Yes.
familiar with the genre of chiptune?
Oh, yes. I love chiptune.
No.
You're
Chiptune
basically
is
using
where
hardware. Please go ahead.
Yeah,
Greg,
you take the guts out of like a Game Boy or an NES or an Atari or something, and basically you rig it up. I mean, me and my friend have been talking about like trying to actually do that. A lot of people fake it with synthesizers. I can make any something sound like a Game Boy. But like the authentic chiptune, let's talk about authenticity in chiptune music. Or you'd actually
chiptune music.
Yeah, right. Japan to table, and so you take the guts out of a Game Boy and you basically rig it up to a keyboard controller.
Yes, I actually think I've seen this on YouTube. Don't they have a couple of videos on there, like from a couple
there's
of
a bunch,
years
I'm
ago?
sure.
I bet if you
maybe?
search just Bare Naked Ladies chiptune, you'd find hundreds.
Oh,
'Cause-
interesting.
Because They Might Be Giants fans are really into it too. It's another kind of geeky, sub-genre kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's also a guy I found a treasure trove of Mario Paint. They
Ooh,
might be
I love
Giants
Mario
covers.
Paint covers.
Yeah,
Oh,
I should
hell
see
yeah.
if there's any Bare Naked Ladies for you guys for future episodes.
Did you
but
say it's
when-
chip tunes?
Yeah,
chip
chip
tune.
tunes.
Yeah, like you're taking the
Okay.
microchips out of it.
There's
right.
only one that I could find looking at it, and I'll make sure I post it for this week. It's Pinch Me, which is
Okay.
an 8-bit chip tune.
Yeah, so they'll do like,
Interesting.
for instance, the
So
NES.
anyone who's listening
Yeah.
needs to go out and actually do chip tunes up, and we'll post it
Do
on
some
the show
covers.
if we haven't already covered that song.
Yeah, that'd be awesome,
Yeah.
actually. But yeah,
I'm
you.
going to start looking for that every week from here on out.
I once did tweet out a request for a cover of a song that I could not find any covers of, and someone sent me a cover that was pretty well recorded in like the next 5 hours before I recorded the episode.
Wow.
I put out, I'm like, hey, who wants to cover this song? And someone actually did it.
That's pretty
That's
great. I love the
awesome.
internet, man.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's like the old NES had like I think it was like two square waveforms, a sawtooth waveform, and a noise channel, and that was all they had really to make all their music. And I really like have a huge, deep appreciation for these composers who composed for these early like 16 and 8-bit consoles because of the limitations placed upon them and how they would compose and things like that. Like it's not as simple as just scoring it out. You have to use these like tracker software and everything back in the day. You know, it's become a lot easier now. As Greg said, you can get like these voices on a synth and just kind of replicate it. But yeah, I've actually been to a Chiptunes concert where the guy had like the guts of the systems out and has it hooked up to a MIDI controller, and it was really cool
Yeah.
to see.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, the real deal.
Now, you guys are saying chiptune, like with this song. To me, and it might be related to chiptune, to me this song reminded me of a ringtone. Like, the whole beginning of this song reminded me of a ringtone.
Oh yeah.
Early ringtones were very much had that kind of
Yeah.
8-bit, 16-bit sound quality. So
Yeah,
for me, it was
your
a
Motorola Razor.
Exactly.
The Nokia, the little Nokia.
Well, I found the Bare Naked Ladies Big Bang theme in 8-bit.
Oh, please
so
send that
you already
along.
did that episode, I
Oh,
know, but
cool.
sure.
Here's one
That's
of my
cool.
many problems with this song. The beginning of the song is...
Oh, I love it when you have a problem with a song, Tracy. It just makes
Oh,
me
Tracy's
happy.
drinking the
I
haterade.
guzzled
Because
the
Tracy
haterade.
is so all
boy.
in.
Wow.
I can't wait. Spill it. Tell me
The
everything.
whole beginning of the song... So, first of all, I didn't like I like some ringtones. I didn't like this ringtone sound at the beginning of the song.
Yeah, you probably find chiptunes pretty.
Then you might not like chiptune then.
Wow.
No, I like the old Mario Brothers and all and Zelda and all that. I love those old things. There was something about this I just didn't like, and it went on for 40 seconds, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's drilling into me. And then it just kept going on in the background throughout the whole rest of the song, and it's drilling through my brain. I even tried to go back and listen to, like, cut out the first 40 seconds and start the song from there, from when the lyrics start up. And I still didn't like it because all I could hear was that theme going over and over and over again throughout the whole song.
How interesting.
So then on the other end of it, so they got this really long intro. And then they have this really, really long outro as well. It's 1 minute and 40 seconds long on the outro after the last word has been finished. And I have to say, like, they repeat the word daydreaming, I think it was like 10 times to finish. After that last one, it goes another minute and 40 seconds of them just doing instrumental. And I'm like, that, for a 5 minute and 30 second song, that is much too long for me.
That's hilarious. You don't usually react this way to the BNL
It's
song.
very
So
rare.
I mean,
Unless it's a Kevin song.
it's very rare. Although I will say, to me, this really didn't sound like a BNL song. It didn't sound like, this is not why I go to listen to Bare Naked Ladies at all. But I mean, I liked the song. And I actually had a note that I liked the outro. But again, it was because it was easy and it didn't require anything. I didn't have to do anything. I could just let it happen.
It sounded like like you had mentioned, a song that you would hear an instrumental to in the middle of the mall.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a pretty cool mall if they're playing stuff that's got chiptune elements in it. They're playing it at
when I was
the
down in
GameStop.
Jamaica for work, I was at a Chinese-owned supermarket, and I heard this romantic saxophone playing, and I stopped pushing my car, and I looked up, and I was like, wait, is that the Blade Runner soundtrack? And it was. It was the romance theme from Blade Runner playing in a Jamaican Chinese-owned supermarket. It was one of the
That
weirdest,
is
most surreal
so
experiences of my life.
You're talking
It
the
was
original,
really cool,
Original Blade Runner?
but it was super weird.
Wow.
I kept expecting to look up
lot.
and seeing Sean Young somewhere or something, you know? I'm so, what?
Well, right.
So, okay, as far as I'm concerned, guys, I've mentioned how simple the song is. There's nothing wrong with simplicity. Some of my favorite songs are very simple. A lot of like Beatles stuff, very simple.
Yes.
There's beauty in simplicity.
Yes.
But having said that, I just can't help but feel like this song is a little half-baked.
Yes.
Even the ending is really abrupt, and I'm sure that was intentional, but I'm not sure why, other than, hey, let's do something other than ending on resolving to the tonic. I think maybe if it's trying to evoke a daydream, you might be like thinking, well, if you're daydreaming, suddenly someone might say your name and you're snapped out of it. So maybe that's thematically, that's what they were going for. But to me, it's just more... I feel like this needed a little more time in the oven.
Yeah.
It's something else that I've...
Like, they
Go
had
ahead.
this really cool tinkling of the keys and Ed, like, picking on the guitar in the outro. If they had done that throughout the whole song, that might have made it more interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think Kevin's key work is probably the best part. It's the standout of this track. And you have that instrumental section where he's really going at it. And it's like, that was really cool. I like that. And the funny thing is, though, while this song is quite different from some of the others that we've heard off of Grinning Streak, I have to say that there's something tonally, or I have no idea if it's the way they EQ'd it or compressed it or something, but Grinning Streak, everything that I've heard off it thus far, has this feel to me that's so much more homogenous than any of the other albums that we've sampled. So anything like Gordon or Stunt or Maybe You Should Drive, they're so... the dynamic range and the stylistic influences, it's so much more diverse on those albums. And we've only probably covered 4 or 5 songs off Grinning Streak so far, maybe not even. But it seems like every time I run into this album, I'm like, it's more the same, you know? And it's like, I don't know, just something feels the same about it, and I can't quite...
It's factory pressed.
So, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know, are they trying to...
sell a few albums?
I mean, they've been a band for a long time at this point. So, yeah, are they trying to tap into a different kind of audience? I mean, you don't want to... That's the hard thing. You don't want to alienate, I mean, you guys, longtime fans by putting out something, that, you think sounds too homogenous or something like that, or too slick. I mean, not that they haven't had big budget records before this, but I'm just looking at the AllMusic review right now, and it says... Grinning Streak finds the band sticking with the polished, mature sound that they delved into on 2010's All in Good Time. And they gave it 3.5 stars as an album.
I wouldn't say it's their polished, mature sound. I would say Stunt
is
a polished, mature sound.
Fair-ish. I don't think it's a bad album. But to your point, I'm not a long-term fan. Before Tracy pulled me into this project, I knew maybe a handful... I could probably count on one hand, or definitely 2, the songs that I knew by BNL. So I'm coming at this as a relative newbie, just knowing most of the radio hits or whatnot. And that's just an observation that I made. This album seems to be kind of homogenous. And, again, one thing I want to say, as a musician, and I want to stress this, writing music, and especially finishing songs, is very, very difficult. It might seem easy to someone who's never done it, But let me tell you, and I know firsthand how difficult it is to pull something up from the depths of your subconscious and work and work and work and work and work on it. And then finally at some point make the assessment, okay, this is done. This is finished, because it never feels finished. It doesn't to me, certainly. I never am like, okay, that I don't need to do. There's maybe one song I've ever written in my 15 years of writing music, or so. Probably more now. Oh wow, I'm getting old. Like 20 years
longer,
of writing
Aaron,
music.
Yes, yeah.
I've probably
about 23
I probably
for
only
me.
finished. I probably started about 300 songs, and I probably only finished 50 or 60.
I mean, you
Of
haven't even
those-
finished a movie yet.
Of those songs, there's maybe one or two that I felt like, okay, that's definitely finished. I never really felt that with the others. It was always like, I guess I got to stop trying to tweak this because I got to move on to something else. So I guess this is good enough. And that's always how it felt for me, at least. So I understand this is a huge, it's a job of work as much as it is anything else. And I know how much effort must have gone into that. So to the BNL guys, if you're listening, we know you're listening. Of course. Please come on the show.
We know they're listening.
No, but please
Ed
don't.
listens faithfully
please don't
every
take this
week.
personally, of course, I love so much of your music, but it just this album, what I've heard from it thus far, is just not really doing it for me overall. And this is another example. This is not a bad song. I would say it's above average in the pantheon of like what a song could be.
Yeah.
But again, I have to compare it to all the other, alcohol, alternative, girlfriend, just to start some of the A's. Yeah, conventioneers.
Well, what do you guys think about the albums that have come after this?
We've
I've
listened
never
to
heard
what is
anything
it,
off
the
Silver Ball?
Silver Ball? We've a few
Silver
from
Ball
that.
comes after this. That didn't do well. Fake Nudes has been sort of a recovery for them. They've done better with Fake Nudes than they did with Silver Ball.
So even you guys, you like that? Is that their return to form?
Fake Nudes is probably like a rebound from Silver Ball, in my opinion, back to probably about this level. But I wouldn't say it's like
so not any better
full recovery back to old form.
We're
say that the
foolish enough
title
to
is-
still be pulling for a Stephen Page and BNL reunion, but we know that's not likely to happen.
Yeah, guys, honestly, not until I was, we decided that we would do our little crossover here that I was like, let me see what they've been up to lately. Wait, that guy's not in the band anymore? He's like the guy.
Yeah, no,
He's one of the guys.
and his last album was absolutely amazing. Michelle and I,
He's the
agreed
bare
on that.
naked lady.
Yes.
So I want to say that I will go ahead.
To
Michelle,
me,
please.
well, I was going to veer off into a subject about Steven, but really to me, and I'm an old school fan, like I haven't even listened to, the only new stuff I've listened to is because of this podcast, but, and I'm admitting that, I'm saying it out loud, but to me,
We are recording,
we are recording. This is going to be, I'm outing myself. To me, the magic of the Bare Naked Ladies is when Steven and Ed do their thing. And Steven
interaction
spills his
between the
messy
two.
guts. And
It's so funny you mentioned that.
Yes,
What I was
to
about
me,
to say was
that's-
I was going to make a comparison to Pink Floyd. Now there are some people who are very much like in the fish fan hippie category who love early Piper at the Gates of Dawn, Sid Barrett, Pink Floyd. But for me, Pink Floyd will always be like basically, Dark Side of the Moon, Animals, Wish You Were Here. That's the golden era for me. And then it started to veer off, like with The Wall. Roger Waters started to be more of a control freak, and then there was like the Final Cut, which is practically a Roger Waters solo album. And then they split. And Roger Waters has made some really good music, and Pink Floyd made some really good music without Roger Waters. I like Division Bell. There's some really good stuff on there. But they never, to me, alone could have reached the height of their powers together. And when they bounced off each other, Roger Waters had that really edgy, just nonconformist, angry attitude, and the really, really the interesting contrast between like the ferocity of the lyrics and sometimes the sensitivity of the music. And then David Gilmour has this wonderful blues sensibility and amazing ability to make the guitar sing and be very melodic and tasteful. And just when they combine together, there's nothing like it, and you never get quite to the same again. So it's always sad for me to see a band that I think works better together end up splitting, even if I'm sure. If they're happier apart, like with parents in a divorce, maybe it's good for everybody. It's better for everybody. But it's sad that you saw the golden time and you wish you could return to it.
you still need therapy about it.
Mom and Dad are fighting again.
I'm sure you guys have touched on this in other episodes, and I just haven't listened to them all.
How dare you?
Was it any result of his I know, right? Didn't he have like a alcohol problem?
He had a cocaine problem.
Oh,
Something
God.
He had many different things
I
problems.
see.
He's got a lot of things going on.
Those funny men and their cocaine.
It does
Usually
seem
I
So,
mention
was that
something
part of
in
why
every
he left the band?
episode.
It does relate to it because they were having an image problem. They were just doing some children's albums around the time where he was busted for coke.
Yeah.
He did get caught 3 days before they were supposed to go to Disney and play. Like that.
Bad timing, definitely.
With
Whoops.
a pile of cocaine
Like
on
Scarface,
the table
right?
with a young woman who was not his wife.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that
That's big.
was really bad timing, and
Yeah,
we
this
love
is
you,
not a
Steve.
band you expect that
He's
stuff from.
with her today
That's something.
still,
Yes, yeah.
so
They're married.
they're married.
Oh, the
but
woman that
he
so
was
he divorces.
married to somebody else when he was doing
he was
cocaine
married to
with
Carolyn
this-
at the time, though.
Yes.
Not a good look.
The mother of his children.
No.
But if you listen to every single song of his from the beginning of time up until then, it's all there. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Here's what
It's
I
all
think.
I
fueled
love
by
you,
cocaine.
Stephen Page. We know you're
Please
listening.
come on the
Please
show. We
come
love
on
you.
and talk to me about this. Okay.
Please come on again.
Yes.
So here's what I think the problem is with this album, and I think that it happens with many of the albums afterwards. I actually really enjoyed their album after Steven left. There were a lot of really good songs on that. And I think that bands make their best music and artists make their best music when there is angst, when there is bitterness, when there are feelings that are driving them. And happiness
to process.
is not one that drives really good music. And after their album before this one, they recovered. And this is their recovery album. This is their album where they're feeling happier, they're feeling better. They've basically hit acceptance level in their grief process. It's for the most part a happy album, and it's hard with other songs that are on here like Crawl and Boomerang to sound angsty when you're not feeling
that's kind of my
angsty.
theory, is that too much success is really bad for art. Because I think the best art comes out of processing. You know, for me at least, I know it's been very therapeutic to have music, to write a song or something if I need to process negative emotions. One of my favorite moments in my life is my mom recorded with like one of those old camcorders, you know what I mean, back this was like early 2000s. One of my first concerts ever at the music hall at UMA where I went to college. And I hear her. It's a little bit of background on me. I have a band called The Second Child. Very, very dark. It was my way of dealing, again, with my negative emotions, right? So I had a song where I had this really kind of dark, depressing guitar riff, and then I brought out this Fisher-Price record player, and I put on the Bambi record by Disney, and I put my finger on the record to slow it down so it sounded really weird and demonic. And around this point, I hear my mom lean over to my sister who's sitting next to her and go, "Aaron's music is so dark."
That was after Bambi's mom.
It was very dark.
Tracy's been there. He's heard my stuff.
I own the album.
Thank
I
you
love
for-
the album. I don't play it with my kids in the car, but I do love the album.
I appreciate it.
It's hard to play Long Slow Elevator Ride to Hell with your kids
True.
in the car.
True.
I
You
think
did,
I got the
yeah.
name of that
The long
right. Did I get
monotonous
it right
elevator
here?
ride to hell,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
There you go. Nice.
I always have to mess up.
But
something.
yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being
So
jaded.
This song is really
It is.
positive.
That's a good
Like,
thing
it's-
overall, right? Like,
I'm going to teach you not to believe in me. Like, I have these dreams. I believe in myself. I'm going to go for what I want. And I'm going to teach you to not believe in me. You're going to have it coming to you kind of in a positive way to not believe in me. You'll see soon that you were wrong. But not in a like, ha-ha kind of like way, but in a like, it's all right, you'll figure it out someday kind of thing. And I'm like, I can't really connect with you on that.
well, so here's my biggest problem. I think you guys know I'm all over the map musically speaking. Are you guys familiar with the hip hop artist Lupe Fiasco? Lupe Fiasco.
Oh yeah, Kick Push is one of my favorites.
He did a song called Daydreamin as well. And it samples an amazing song that I absolutely love called Daydreamin' Blue by iMonster. and it has wonderful, fantastic backing vocals by Jill Scott, and it's a beautiful song. And if I'm hearing a song called Daydream and it's not really doing it for me, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'd rather be listening to Daydream.
Where's Jill Scott? Yeah.
Well, this song, the whole time I was listening to it, I'm like, if you're gonna go on this theme, a much better version of a song that's on this theme is the Philosophy song by Ben Folds 5. Like that whole you know what? You don't believe in me, but because there's a little bit of angst, a little bit of anger behind that, you didn't believe in me, and you can hear it in its keyboards. It's a keyboard-driven song.
Interesting comparison.
But there's
Ben Folds.
little bit of anger in there, and that gets you to feel emotions, and I don't feel emotions with this song. I think that's one of the things that is missing for me.
Can't chillaxin be an emotion, man? Just chillaxin over here.
It can be. It just isn't going to.
Maybe the gift of this song is that you don't
Greg,
have
geographically,
to feel
where are you
anything.
located? I can't recall. I'm sorry.
I am in Lafayette, Indiana. I grew up in Chicago, though. I'm only a few hours away from Chicago, hour north of Indianapolis. I've lived in Indiana almost as long.
So I was gonna guess, are you on the West Coast or
point?
something? Because West Coast peeps tend to be a little more chilled out. But maybe I don't know about the Midwest. Maybe they're more chilled out. We East Coasters are way uptight. We're super angry all the time. Anyone who's in front of us is not in front of us. They're in our way. So we're very much passive aggressive. Yeah, exactly.
I'm driving here.
Exactly.
We're a little bit less than Boston, but it's up there.
My sister lives in Watertown. In
so I don't know. Maybe you're just a little more in touch with your chill side than we are. But
I don't know. Like I said, I'm a music teacher, so I'm doing music all day long, and I teach a lot of. I try to make the music, stuff of substance. There's so much kids' music out there that sucks. But with my kindergartners, I'm doing all this old folk stuff like Ellie Jenkins and Pete Seeger and
very cool.
My first graders, I'm actually prepping for They Might Be Giants.
Man, I would have loved having you as a music
teacher.
And I'm doing these folk dances, these old New England folk dances with my second and third graders and playing my accordion a lot. So I'm making music of all kinds all day, and sometimes a lot of times on the way home I'll listen to podcasts. I mean, they can be about music, but I'd almost rather just listen to some grown-ups talk about something than
I totally get that.
Kids flapping their gums at me or singing cheery kid songs. So it's kind of nice. So this song kind of played in the same way where it's kind of this is not a song if I put this on for kids they'd be come on, But for me, I was just this hits the spot right now.
So building off that idea, Greg, I played this in the car a couple of times this week with my kids in the car because I was, that's where I do most of my driving. And my son's response was that he thought this was a kid's song. He was actually kind of so when do I give my opinion about this song? I'm like,
oh my gosh,
this isn't
hilarious.
on the kids' album, buddy. He's like, but this is a kid's song. He's like, I give it an 8.5 out of 10, and it would be higher if the singer wasn't saying "dang
dreaming,"
because he thought that the singer was swearing.
Diddly dang dreaming here
on the kids' album,
That's adorable. And his response was, when I told him it was no, buddy, it's daydreaming. He's like, well, that should be clearer. They should re-record that.
You want to leave room for misinterpretation there. So
that's hilarious.
That makes me ask you, is it just me, or did Jim do something with his voice? It sounds very electronic. It sounds like he's using that, what do they call it? Auto-recorder? Auto-tune? Is he auto-tuning his voice in this song?
There might be some auto-tune there. I think it's more just processing. They kind of make it a little... You can do that with EQ. You can make it kind of float a little bit above the mid-range of the guitars and stuff and make it a little more ethereal. What do you think, Greg?
I mean, it could be... I think it could be even though it's a pretty gentle vocal, it could be compressed a bunch so that the dynamic range is very consistent. It brings the peaks down and raises the softer parts. So it's just very. I mean, monotone wouldn't be the right word. Monodynamic, I suppose.
Homogeneous.
Just very, very, right. And I mean, this is the issue with a lot of big budget records. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with
the loudness
the term
wars. We
the
talked about that
loudness
last
wars.
week with Susan, actually.
Now,
yeah.
Okay, all right. So obviously this
Right.
song is not trying to win the loudness
which is
wars, but
refreshing.
even a soft song. My friend was telling me about some like new metal band did a cover of the
Disturbed did
Sounds
that,
of
yeah.
Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah, and he's like, it was
Yeah.
the most aggressive acoustic guitar vocal song I've ever heard.
And the
'cause it's like-
people
'cause you can
bowed
even
and
make it
prayed.
acoustic. Right, but he was
Yeah,
even
yeah,
saying
yeah.
from a production standpoint, like a guy is
It's
strumming
really
an acoustic
upfront. It's
guitar,
very in your
but then you
face.
just like smash it so that like, right, you'd think like, oh, it's nice and chill, but then like if you drop the MP3
Yeah, yeah.
into like your recording
Like a
software, the
crushed
waveform, like
square,
it's an
yeah.
acoustic guitar, but it's
Yeah.
like, it's just like no peaks or valleys, just like, and I don't
No,
think this song is
but-
guilty of that, but as far as like compressing it, like synths, especially analog synths, are pretty
Anyways,
naturally
yeah.
compressed. You don't have to
Agreed.
put compressors on synthesizers. It's a very kind of flat tone as it is. Drum machines, same thing. You don't need to worry about that. I mean, you're recording real drums. You're putting compressors on like everything, but everything's already got this kind of chill, like electronic, robotic kind of just very controlled, compressed sound. And so maybe they did the same thing to the vocals and just kind of smashed them into this little robot thing without making them sound like a robot exactly. Though there are plugins called bit crushers where you can get that kind of chip tune. Have you ever played with that? Those kind of plugins,
I have not.
bit crushers.
No.
I mean, I could send you my track for this podcast, and I could sound like a robot if you'd like.
I was gonna say,
The entire
I have
episode.
used, I have used
Or like
the
right
vocoder.
here, I'll just turn into it. Right here, I'll just
Yeah.
like I peel off my face on the side.
I actually have this really cool piece of gear
That's
called the
hilarious.
Voice Box. It's an Electro Harmonics voice box, and it's really cool. It can,
Oh.
any audio signal that you put into it alongside your vocals, it can use to modulate the signal. So you can even play like a guitar and be
Nice.
basing. It'll produce harmonies automatically based on the chord that you're playing on the guitar. It's pretty sweet.
Sure.
It's pretty slick.
Yeah. I'm a big
Yeah, they
big
got
fan
some
of
nice
electro
gear.
harmonic stuff. I got a bunch of pedals.
But so out of I keep forgetting. I want to suggest. You excited me when you said you were talking about like old timey folk songs and stuff. I'm a big fan of that stuff. So I don't know if you already are
Yeah.
using it in your curriculum, but I highly recommend New York Girls. Can't You Dance the Polka? Awesome song. I'll post a link there.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm game for pretty much anything.
So, do we have anything else that we want to add in for this song?
Yeah, I found something. You guys ever
Yes,
go
the
on
lyric
Genius?
website.
.com?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So I was looking up just the lyrics because I'm like, okay, the lyrics are pretty simple, but let me make sure I'm hearing them right. And on one site, I think just like the Google Play lyrics that usually pop up, just if you're using Google or whatever, had hold the phone, turn off the fax machine, like a fax machine, as if we were in the
Fax
90s. And then I go on
machine.
Genius and it says turn off the
Yeah.
facts, as in like that's a fact. The facts.
That's clever.
Machine. And then someone annotated it and said that the CD liner notes say facts machine.
Fax is an FACTS.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, now this song takes on a whole new meaning. Dude,
I like the idea
here.
of calling a computer a
deep.
fax machine, since you can go and find all sorts of alternative facts on social media if you want to.
Oh.
That's crazy.
That's
Yeah.
interesting because I thought it was fax FAX
Yeah, I
as
assumed
well.
it was facts.
Yeah, I mean that's because that's just naturally what your ear's gonna hear, at least if you're our ages, right? I don't think kids know what a fax machine is anymore. Though my school still has one. I
I
don't
was
know.
gonna say I still use them.
You do?
Yeah, every now and then I have to send documents places and get it there.
I'm guessing
quick,
those are
so
government places.
rather than
Well, especially
scanning it.
where it's hold
Right,
the phone and then turn off the fax machine. Like it feels like
right.
it would make sense, like a telephone and then a fax.
But these days, a fax
machine
machine
and-
could easily be a computer. So I think that's if you're plugged into Wikipedia, your computer is acting as a fax machine.
True.
So
Not the
yeah.
not the news media though. Those
alternative
are fake
facts, like I
fake
said.
facts.
But like, okay, so I want to preface. I know we're gearing up to end here, and before I give a score, I want to say this. Look, I'm still recovering from my nasty bout with the flu, and I've been
Oh my God,
it's been
it was
like a
awful.
month plus. It's been awful. I'm in a bad
Yes.
mood because I didn't sleep well last night. So if I seem overly harsh when I give a number here, just keep that in mind. And also bear in mind, maybe next January when we're doing another round of resolutions, I may
When the
indeed
ages.
increase my score. Maybe I'll be kinder in retrospect. But that's me.
Oh, is that something you guys did?
Yeah, we had a
went
New
back
Year's
and
episode where we
thought
maybe
about your
changed a few
scores?
scores.
That's fun.
Adjusted.
A regrets episode.
Regrets, I've had a few.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I have one from doing that.
I forgot you did that, actually.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
you have a second regrets episode about the regrets you had about the resolutions episode. I regret everything I said on the resolutions episode. Take it all back.
So, Greg, I don't know if you're familiar. We do 0 to 5.
Okay.
And Michelle will give us our scoring of what the
Our category.
the category
Okay.
is.
What
this
our
week.
rating, how we're rating it.
Sure.
So I love all our discussion for this week. Sorry to take over, Tracy.
Nope, that's what
Okay,
I was trying to do.
I felt like you were handing it over. So yes, 0 is the lowest, 5 is the highest. But my original category for our scores for this week was 8 bits, but I'm changing it to 8-bit chip tunes because I feel like that was because chip tunes is actually the thing I was looking for, but I couldn't think of it. And I'm like, well, it's the 8-bit thing for Mario Brothers or Nintendo.
Yeah.
So chip tunes.
I mean that works
is-
too. Yeah.
It works too. So, as our guest, well, do we want the guest to go
Yeah.
first or last?
No.
First.
No.
Or I can. I'll
much
go first.
pressure,
I'll
too
give
much
my
pressure.
rating
Michelle, go
first. Okay, so I give this song, and once Aaron said this in our regrets episode, this is how I go. 2.5 is the middle. That's a C. That's the middle of the road.
Okay.
I actually like this
Okay.
song a little bit more than that. So I give this song a 2.75 chiptunes.
Okay.
That's my rating for the score because I feel like it's slightly, like it's fine. If it's on, I'm going to listen to it. I don't hate it. It doesn't send me over the edge. It doesn't make me feel anything, but it's fine. It's okay. So I'm giving it a 2.75.
Okay.
Should we
So-
move? Who
so-
wants to go next?
I can. That's second. Going second is fine for me. I can
Greg,
do
We
that.
already pushed the
how
first
many
penguin in the water.
chip tunes? Yes.
What, is that a reference to something? I don't know.
Greg, how many chip tunes do you give this song?
I do like it a lot. I mean, when I was looking through the spreadsheet trying to decide on something that was coming up, in the not too distant future for you guys, I was just kind of going through. I'm like, I have no idea what this song is. And as soon as I heard that intro, I'm just such a sucker for synth stuff and that chiptune stuff. And I've never done legit chiptune. Like every time I hear a chiptune cover or something, I'm just a sucker for it. And so a lot of chiptune is kind of silly, and that's kind of the point. This one is like, it's a
you
grown
go.
man's chiptune. It's
Thinking
it's
man's
more
chiptune.
mature. It's
Nice.
it's
There
like
you
the
go.
jazz of chiptune. No, it's
There we
You'll
go.
appreciate jazz.
But I listened to it a bunch after school today, and I had my nearly 6-month-old daughter. She was had just ate and was just kind of hanging out on my knee as I was like surfing, looking up stuff about bare naked ladies and whatever, and she was grooving on it. It was just like a kind of nice little song. I got home from work, and she's just kind of like bopping along. I'm bopping her on my knee too, and she was digging it. And I don't know, maybe that influenced my opinion, but I do think, well, yeah, it's not some earworm that's it's going to be stuck in your head for days and it's going to top the charts, but it's a very enjoyable song in my opinion. So I'm going to give it a 3.2 chippy tunes.
Very, very good.
Nice.
Very
Very
decent.
good.
That's a respectable
That's
number.
a decent score.
I think that's
good.
that seems good to me.
All right. So, Aaron
I'll-
or Tracy,
I'll
who
go.
wants to
I
be
actually have
the
a feeling
haterator?
something about the way Tracy
Okay.
was speaking earlier that he actually may be drinking even more Haterade than I am this week. So I'm going to go ahead and I don't know. We'll see. So Michelle, you and I once again are very, very closely aligned. I also like this. I think this is an above average tune. I think it's very well done. It's a very competently produced tune. I mean that sincerely, not like in any kind of sneering way. And I agree with Greg. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's very pleasant to listen to.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all you want or need
It
out of a
is.
tune. But I gotta in my mind compare it to the must be 50 plus songs now that we've already listened to during the course of this. And I just can't compare to some of the other ones and even the threes. So I'm going to give it a solid and above average 2.7 chip tunes out of 5.
There we go. Very good. All right, Tracy.
All
It's
right.
all you.
There's a definitive pattern here.
Uh-oh.
If it's a Kevin song, I'm the hater.
What did he run over your
Poor
dog
Kevin.
or something?
Leave him alone.
What's the history here?
There are Kevin songs I love. I know we have not hit them yet. I know.
We
Yeah.
should have Kevin come on and have a
he could interview
mediation
you, Tracy, and be like,
session with
"Why are you such a meanie?
Let's work it out. Let's
Where's
work it
this
out.
coming from?
Tell me
He'll
about your
probably
mother."
only come on if I'm not there.
Yeah, what happened to you as a child? What Kevin beat
What is-
you up in elementary school?
Which is funny because he is the
Aggression
nicest of
transference.
the BNL.
Oh, clearly the nicest, sweetest, nicest, kindest.
All right,
Yeah.
I've said a lot about this song already, and so I'm going to keep it
Yeah.
relatively short. I'm not a fan of this song. I
Ooh.
wouldn't play it again.
wow.
It's not one that's on my playlist. It won't be going
So
on my
4.2.
playlist.
2. Oh.
Did you say
Wow.
2?
A 2.
Well, I'm
That
glad Greg
is-
was here to balance you out.
Is
sir.
that your lowest?
Yeah.
No, another one of his, Vegetable Town, is
Yeah,
a 1.75.
I can't
Oh,
see rating
that's
this.
right.
I do love
I
this more
can't
than
see
Vegetable
rating this
Town.
below the
So-
bulk of the children's songs, but I guess that's just a difference between you and me.
Yeah, well, and if you have to listen to children's songs as much as I do, then
Fair
you
enough.
get to like
Fair
them
enough.
a little
That's
bit
much
more.
Wow. So that leaves us with 2.66.
Okay, pretty
chip
close to what I
tunes
was
for
rating it, so I'm
Daydreaming.
okay with this.
And that brings it right below
Yeah,
Bringing
above
It Home,
Best Damn Friends.
which is,
Yep.
yep.
All right.
Interesting.
I know we're running short on time here, so I'm going to throw for an appearance this week. I'm going to change my appearance.
You don't need to do
And
that, Tracy.
not
You're
that
good
kind of
enough the way
appearance.
you are.
I'm going to shave.
Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
I thought you were bleaching your hair. I didn't know what that was all about. Now that makes sense. Okay.
No, I'm going to change the appearance that I'm covering for this week. BNL just released a song with Kim Mitchell this week. Now, you may remember from earlier podcasts, Kim Mitchell, Ed Robertson was in one of the early videos for Kim Mitchell. He was in the audience. He's obviously a big fan. Kim Mitchell asked them if they would like to do some kind of cover with them, and they said, I would love to do Diamonds, Diamonds. He doesn't usually re-record songs he's already done, but he's like, I would love to do that. This is one of those soft tunes that is absolutely gorgeous to listen to. I mean, this doesn't
nice.
cover it because it's a Kim Mitchell tunes featuring Bare Naked Ladies. So we aren't going to cover it. But I mean, if we were going to cover it, I would give this easily in the 4s, maybe even like mid 4s. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous, harmonious tune with all this great playing by Kevin and beautiful singing by Kim Mitchell and the guys. So please, I'm going to put it in the liner notes.
Definitely
Please
check
go
it
out and
out.
listen to the song. You can also download it. I don't know where the money goes to. I don't know if it's for a cause, but just buy it. It is beautiful. So, and speaking of appearances, Michelle, is there something different about you this week? Did you cut your hair? Because I almost cut my hair. And what's that you're wearing around your neck? Is that a Southern Cross? I don't know, but
I don't know what's going on here.
I just think you have a heart of gold. You're just I don't know. Well, anyways, I'm not going to
lost.
carry on any longer, And I'm going to get to next week's song, which is going to be Deck the Stills. If you didn't get all the nice little throwouts that I threw in there, you will next week.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Greg, for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Give us a quick plug here. Plug your podcast, please.
Okay, yeah. So you can find. Well, you can hear my dog barking right now, and she'll tell you. Boy, she'll tell you that you can find This Might Be a Podcast on iTunes, Spotify, all the stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Dog.
She's a fan.
Yeah.
What's that, Lassie?
Timmy, down the old well?
This Might Be a Podcast, falling down a well? Yeah. So we're on Twitter at This Might Be a Pod. And Facebook.com/This Might Be a Podcast. So I guess those would be the places to go. Yeah, go on and listen. And if you're a fan, I have done episodes with both Marty Beller, the drummer, and Danny Weinkoff, the bassist. And when they come back from Australia, hopefully someday I can get the Johns on. I have been in touch with their management through those interviews with those two guys. So here's hoping. So check out This Might Be a Podcast. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on.
You're
welcome. Awesome.
Please go out and listen to his podcast. I've only caught in a handful of the episodes, but they are absolutely amazing and entertaining to listen to. So go out there and listen to those.
Thanks.
And thank you guys for joining us next week. Join us next week for Deck the Stills.
We'll see you then, guys.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget, no regrets, except maybe one.
If I smushed 1,000,000 puppies.
To celebrate joining Pantheon Podcasts, Rock Camp, the podcast, the official podcast of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, is giving away a guitar signed by Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater, Marty Friedman, formerly of Megadeth, and legendary shredder Zakk Wylde, plus our rockstar counselors like Vinny Appice, Monty Pittman, and more. To enter to win, simply follow, rate, and review our podcast on your preferred platform, and that's all you have to do. For more information, go to rockcamp.com/podcast.